A community, Highmark Credit Union, local, personal, and here for you. We'll make it happen. Federally insured by the NCUA.
As we kick off the new year and you think about new opportunities in 2026, Lee Cruz with New York Life Insurance Company in Rapid City is ready to help you and your family protect your financial future. Nobody knows what life will bring, and that's why it's so important to have life insurance in place. And Lee Cruz is a local guy that will help set up the right policy that fits your needs and budget. Just take 10 minutes, protect your family with life insurance. Google Lee Cruz New York Life. That's Lee Cruz at 605-360-8804.
Hey guys, glad you made it. Go ahead and put your hot dish on the picnic table with the others.
But won't it get cold?
Oh, little announcement. We will be eating outside in the cold tonight. Not my idea.
But June, it's starting to snow.
Cheapskate Jerry here.
What?
Thought we could go another year before we replaced our drafty old windows.
If only June and Jerry had done a free consultation with Renewal by Andersen, their new replacement windows would be in, and their guests wouldn't be out in the cold.
Swedish meatball, anyone?
Only if I could eat it inside.
Trust me, it's warmer out here than it is in the house.
If only they knew that Renewal has acclaimed custom windows and ensemble doors to keep their home warm and cozy. With financing options even Cheapskate Jerry can afford.
What?
My fingers are frozen.
Mine nose hairs are frozen.
Mine broke off. Worst party ever.
Make the best decision for your home with exclusive custom-fit acclaimed windows and ensemble doors. Only from Renewal by Andersen. Learn more at rbarapidcity.com.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports Rapid City.
We are Fox Sports!
And here's what you need to know.
Major League Baseball Players Association Executive Director Tony Clark resigned today. ESPN reported Clark resigned after an internal investigation revealed he had an inappropriate relationship with his sister-in-law, who'd been hired by the union in 2023. Minnesota Twins ace Pablo Lopez has a torn ulnar collateral ligament and will likely need season-ending Tommy John surgery. At the Winter Olympics, American Mac Forehand won the silver medal in the men's big air free skiing final. Forehand held the lead until being overtaken by Norway's Tormod Frostad on the final run of the competition. NFL, the agents for Tampa Bay Buccaneers receiver Mike Evans say he will play in the 2026 season and will explore free agency. Golf, Tiger Woods today would not rule out the possibility of playing in the Masters in April. Finally, former NBA coach Doug Moe has passed away at the age of 87. I'm Isaac Lowenkron.
It's time for South Dakota's Sports Talk Show. This is the Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, great interviews, and thought-provoking sports talk. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, welcome in. Good Tuesday afternoon to you all. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you, and thanks for making this show possible. You guys mean a lot. South Dakota Sports Talk Show back and ready. How about we get after it tonight with some great guests from South Dakota and beyond, local, regional, national, from high school to college to the pros. We got you tonight. Good stuff, and welcome in. It's always a great day in South Dakota. South Dakota Sports Talk Show back, the Nate Brown Show live on Fox Sports Radio, our affiliates across South Dakota, KWSN, Sioux Falls, appreciate you. Also, Fox Sports Rapid City. Stream us anywhere on your phone, on Twitter, at Nate Brown Show. Watch us live. We call it Twitter. We call it X, whatever you call it. If you have the app, follow us and watch us live at Nate Brown Show right now. We're streaming on YouTube, The Nate Brown Show. Subscribe to the channel. Just search for us, The Nate Brown Show. You got to have the, because there's some Nate Brown Show. I don't know who it is. The Nate Brown Show. You've got us on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Give us some good reviews. Thumbs up. We'd appreciate it. You can watch this show live, and the archive shows there. And Midwest Sports Plus. We appreciate our partnership with Midwest Sports Plus, the live high school sports app, and this show live on Midwest Sports Plus right now. Tuesday edition. If you missed yesterday. We were on for President's Day. Hope you had a day off or just chilling, whatever. Had a great show yesterday. Jim O'Day was on, athletic director, University of Montana over the years. He had some great perspective on Sacramento State going to the FBS and that whole thing. We're going to get into that a little bit more tonight. Also yesterday, Derek Roby joined us, O'Gorman head boys basketball coach, coaching his last year for now at O'Gorman. If you missed some of these shows, I remind you, if you can't catch us live all 2 hours, I understand you have a life. You got to live. Go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. Yesterday's show is there. And today's show, let's look at the lineup tonight. We'll get going. We are live on Fox Sports Radio with Matthew Collar coming up from the Twin Cities. Matthew Collar is in purpleinsider.football. Matthew Collar is going to get us going tonight. I'll tell you this. Vikings have a situation on their hands. The Vikings have a situation on their hands, and it's one of those things that they got to figure out QB for sure. People are throwing out a bunch of stuff. We'll get Matthew Collar coming up next. John Bryce is on from footballscoop.com, national college football writer. His reaction to these teams jumping from the FCS to the FBS. John's been in the game a long time. What's his read on how it will all work out? John Bryce, Football Scoop's coming up. National basketball scout. He was an NBA guy, an international scout, a former D1 coach. Great basketball guy, Chris Denker, pro basketball scout today. Chris Denker is live from San Jose, California. We'll talk hoops with Chris. And Zach Borg's on tonight from Midwest Sports Plus, live from Sioux Falls. He's covered a lot of high school games. We'll talk high school and college and more. Zach Borg in tonight from Midwest Sports Plus. So we got a lot to do. Let's get after it. 605-720-1067. Always like throwing out the number for you. Join the conversation if you want in. We'll do our best there. 605-720-1067. Lock it in. Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline. Into this show, powered by the Pizza Ranch in Brandon and a location East 10th Street, Sioux Falls, home of everyone's favorite buffet. It is the Pizza Ranch. Barron's Wilson text line open as well. 605-720-1067. Same number. If you can't call, you can text us. The Barron's Wilson text line. All right, a couple of things I want to start off with. One fun thing today. I need your help, okay? So I'm going to need your help with a little interactive audience feedback on this. You've all played high school sports, and maybe you've competed at a high level, all that stuff. You're across the board. So I want to get into a question I have for you all to help me out a little bit tonight. You know, we started this last night, and we got a lot of feedback, so I said, I'm going to bring it to the full audience. Maybe you missed yesterday, so I'm going to bring that back today. First, though, let's start the show. We got to correct the record here a little bit. Everybody has an opinion on these FCS teams go to the FBS. And I told you about Sacramento State yesterday. My opinion is they messed up their whole thing. They went over their skis. They played their hand too much. They exposed themselves on this and that they wanted to go FBS, and they're going to go FBS no matter what. Sacramento State's trying to say they did it right. The MAC wanted them. The MAC wanted the top media market and all that stuff. I don't think that's the case. The MAC took Sacramento State because they took the money. This is a college sports business, man. This is what everybody wants is money. You think the MAC is like, we really need Sacramento State. They don't care. They'll take the media market, but they took the money. So Sac State went about this all wrong. They messed it up. But in the end of the day, they got themselves into the MAC, the Mid-American. They got themselves there. They got themselves to FBS. And I do have to correct the record a little bit. People are kind of making fun of, well, this isn't going to do anything for Sacramento State. I believe it will do something for them. People are throwing out two things on this with Sacramento State. Two things I've heard the last couple of days. They haven't even had success. They can't win. They're never going to win. They haven't even won in the Big Sky. They haven't won college football games in the FCS. So why do they think that they're going to go FBS? I just want to correct this. This is not about football success or not. This has these teams that are doing the FCS to the FBS thing, I'm not talking NDSU. It's a different beast. We know where they're at. We know what they've done. That's a different animal. I'm talking about all these others, the Missouri States, Missouri State just did this last year. It's not about football wins. It's not about football having success or not. Sacramento State going to the FBS has nothing to do with football wins. They don't care. And the Mid-American doesn't care. They just care that they got a bunch of money. They added Sacramento State, so they're like, yeah, I guess. I mean, you look across the MAC, it's not like a bunch of world beaters here. This isn't top shelf stuff. Okay, I mean, it's just a mid-conference. It's mid, as the kids say today. So this isn't about people to say, well, I can't believe they've done it. They haven't even won in the FCS. I mean, how would they go to the FBS? They didn't even win games in the FCS. Nobody cares. Did they care about Missouri State doing nothing? Missouri State's been nothing. Nobody went to their games. They couldn't win. Yeah, they might have had a positive season here or there, Missouri State. Nobody cares about winning football, the success you have in the FCS. It does not matter. Some of the programs have had wins. NDSU, James Madison. There's a list there. But people kind of confuse it like, well, I can't believe Sacramento State would do this. I mean, Montana State's a better option. South Dakota State's a better option. It's not about SDSU winning games. Montana State winning title, the title this past year. That's not what it's about. It's a business decision for the university to try and say, we're going to get to this place, and we're going to think that's the place to be for the future. We think it's going to grow our enrollment. We think it's going to grow our brand, and we're going to get more revenue, and we're going to be in the right place. That's where we want to be. And it's a business decision. Now, you could argue today it's a bad business decision. Maybe you want to argue that today. That's probably an okay argument. It's like, man, really expensive. You were desperate. You messed up the plan, the strategy. You can say you did all this consulting and, you know, you paid these consultants. So that's great. You still messed it up big time. You said you were going, we're there, we're set, we're going. There was no, you just happened into this because you have to pay a big price tag now. So the plan, the process, the thing, you can argue about the business decision there. Maybe that's faulty. But ultimately, I do believe Sacramento State shouldn't be getting hit on, well, this isn't going to, they couldn't even win in the FCS. Nobody cares. It's a easier path for them to gain more brand awareness and on a bigger scale, winning 6-7 games if they can. I don't know if they can or not. It's not like Sac State's been great. They haven't been good. I understand. But it's easier for them to win these games now, I think, at this level, than try and get attention in an FCS, which they couldn't break through. So you see this now. It's a business plan, not a football plan. I understand football's driving the bus. That's the story. But we always worried about what's happened on the field. And it's really not a factor in this FCS to FBS thing. It's just not. So get that out of here. Nobody cares if these teams have won or not. Nobody cares that these teams are bad FCS teams. Nobody cares. They're taking the money. They're paying the money. It might be a bad business deal. In the long term, they think it's going to work out. Now, other thing people are making fun of with Sacramento State to the FBS. Here's the other big thing I'm seeing. Oh, they think they're going to be able to recruit kids now that normally wouldn't go there. So there was a couple of former NFL guys who said, hey, I'm from Sacramento. I would have went to Sacramento State if we were FBS. They said this. This is a couple of NFL guys. Eric Armstead, for example. Okay, he said this on an interview. Hey, I'm from that area. If Sacramento State was FBS and was at this level, I might have thought about sticking around. And people are making fun of that. So I see people reacting today. This isn't going to do anything for them recruiting-wise. Oh, they're going to be able to get kids from California to go to Sac State now? Well, I hate to break it to you. They're going to get more interest than you would think. I hate to break it to you. The FCS at Sacramento State was nothing. They didn't care. Sacramento State, or Sacramento, the community, I've seen guys in that media market say nobody cared about college football at the FCS level. They could care less about the Big Sky Conference, Weber State coming in, Northern Colorado. They did not have a clue. Didn't have a clue about these teams. Them getting to the FBS will legitimize their recruiting with some kids in California. I'm not telling you they're going to beat UCLA and USC. That's not the deal. There's a ton of kids in California. If they're FBS, they're back in that discussion. I'm surprised that everybody says, oh, no, this won't help them. This won't make it so they could take a look at kids that normally wouldn't go there. Well, of course it will. I mean, of course it will. Come on, guys. This is the FBS compared to the FCS. We understand the FCS in this part of the country. We've seen the football. We've seen some of these recruits coming in here. Goddard, Kraft, all these guys that have had great careers. We understand there's high-level teams, high-level players. Most of the country thinks FCS is not the real deal. And there's a huge part of the FCS that is not. The top-tier teams are great. I could throw them into the MAC right now. I'm serious. I could throw some of these top teams into the MAC, into the Mountain West. They'll play with them. We'll watch NDSU, right? Then it's not going to be easy, but they'll be competing. But most people think the FCS, and what's the FCS? I'm just telling you, outside of this bubble up here, upper Midwest, people say, what's the FCS? That's what they mean in Sacramento by they're saying, if we're FBS, that's going to get us some recruits. That's going to open the door at least to having the conversation, yes, we're FBS, just like San Jose State, just like San Diego State, like Fresno State, whoever you want to say. They couldn't say that before. So just two things there. It's like people say, oh, I can't believe they've done this. They can't even win football games in the FCS. Not a factor. And then they say this won't help them being FBS recruiting and kind of building up their program like that. Well, yeah, it will. I mean, these are two things that I see will help Sacramento State. Are they going to be a juggernaut? I have no idea. I don't know if they're going to embrace this at Sacramento. They're going to try and do a new stadium. I mean, they're going all in. They're not going to end up folding up shop. I know they're not going to fold up shop, but when are they going to get all this money back? When are they going to be able to make this revenue neutral? I don't know. They might have to raise the fees. I don't know if your kid's going to Sacramento State, but take a look at the student fees. They might be going up. The deal is this. Let me bring this back to South Dakota, and I'll ask my question of the day as we start tonight. So let's bring this back to South Dakota. Do you think North Dakota State going to the Mountain West now wins them some recruiting battles against kids that were deciding between the Jacks and the Bison? That is my question of the day, and I'm tying it into Sac State. They think they can get in that recruiting mix now. Being FBS in California, hey, maybe we can be in the mix now. What do you think happens here in this part of the country? I was thinking about SDSU or NDSU. Does NDSU go in FBS win them recruiting battles for kids that we're trying to decide? We have this same argument here in this part of the country. Do kids want to play for FCS national championships? And you hear it all the time. This means something. FCS championships, like you can win a title. Or is it just not going to mean anything when they say, I'm going to go North Dakota State because they're FBS. I'm going North Dakota State because they're FBS. Who wins the recruiting battle for that type of kid? Do you know? That's what I'd like to know from you tonight on the question of the day, okay? That's how we'll start tonight, 605-720-1067. With NDSU going FBS, do you think South Dakota State will lose some recruiting battles with the Bison? They were battling each other anyway. This program and this program, they're similar. They're winning. They're powerhouses. They're in the same part of the country. They got facilities. They got money. They got fans. They were very similar. Does NDSU have an advantage now? That's what I'd like to know from you guys. 605-720-1067. Which way would you vote tonight? Will NDSU win recruiting battles more against the Jacks because of the move to FBS? What would you say? No, Kids still want an FCS title chance, or yes, FBS will attract the players. You tell me. 605-720-1067 on the text line, if you would. Bring those in. We'll throw into the drawing tonight for a free buffet to the Pizza Ranch. Location in Brandon and East 10th Street, Sioux Falls. Give away a buffet a day on the Nate Brown Show. Answer the question of the day on the text line. Does NDSU win some recruiting battles more now with the move to FBS over the Jacks? What do you say? 605-720-1067. Hit us there. We'll hit you with Matthew Collar coming up.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Show your home some love with an upgrade to Acclaim replacement windows and an ensemble entry doors and off windows and doors with no money down, no interest, and no payments for 12 months. Plus, get an extra 5% off the entire project if purchased on initial consultation. Energy efficient, durable, and custom made for the perfect fit. It's time to show your home some love. Call today or visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
What do you call a place? It's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait? There's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute, and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
Know anything about you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
There are 1 billion credit card transactions around the world every day. That's 11,698 swipes a second. It's easy to forget that behind each one, there's a person, a family, a dream, a connection being made. The Black Hills Federal Credit Union Visa, for members who want to make the most of every transaction.
Sports Talk Show.
All right, welcome back in. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live tonight on Fox Sports Radio across the state, KWSN Sioux Falls, and Fox Sports Rapid City. Stream us on X at Nate Brown Show. We're on X. Stream us live at Nate Brown Show. Follow us and watch us live at Nate Brown Show on YouTube. You can find us there. The Nate Brown Show live on YouTube. Question of the day. Okay. Does North Dakota State win recruiting battles over South Dakota State more now with the move to FBS in the Mountain West? Do you believe North Dakota State wins more recruiting battles for the players over the Jacks with the move to the Mountain West? Be honest. Tell me no. Kids want to play for an FCS title still, or yes, the FBS is going to attract players in Fargo. 605-720-1067. That's the text line for our question of the day, and we'll set you up with a free buffet to the Pizza Ranch. Pull out one winner tonight. On the Pizza Ranch question of the day, let's go to Matthew Collar. Vikings coverage, the best is there. PurpleInsider.football. He has a great show. You can watch it. Purple Insider. Find him on X at Matthew Collar. Matthew, welcome in. How are you?
I'm waiting for things to happen in football.
I wonder,
like everybody else. Waiting for things in this offseason to get going.
Okay, I wonder if things are going to happen. I'm going to ask you a big question right out. The Vikings, will they be trading for or looking for a starting quarterback, a starting QB? You know what I mean. What do you say?
I say yes, that they will. I mean, usually when a team is high on their starting quarterback for the following season, they usually talk about that. They usually do not say they want a competitive quarterback room when they're asked if the young quarterback is the guy. Usually the coach does not, I shouldn't say hide away, but I haven't seen any Kevin O'Connell national TV or national radio interviews lately talking about J.J. McCarthy or anything else. Seems to maybe not really want to take that question. Usually the GM isn't fired when you're talking about a team that's excited about its young quarterback. I mean, J.J. McCarthy played by NFL standards about as bad as you could play for your first 10 games. And usually the only quarterbacks historically that have kept their jobs when they play like this are guys that were the number one overall pick. So if it's the number one overall pick is probably going to a bad team, and you're going to be patient. But this was not a bad team. This was a team that won 14 games the previous season and was expected to be very good. And when you've already started firing people, then the head coach is under so much pressure here. I just don't see how you can go into next year and say this quarterback who really, really struggled and was not accurate and couldn't run the entire offense, we're going to roll with him again and put all of our jobs on the line. I just don't see how you can possibly do that. That doesn't mean you have to trade McCarthy or give up on him, but starting him for next year as QB1 seems like something that would be very, very, very risky.
Okay, very interesting. What do you think of this reporting? Some national guys are reporting J.J. McCarthy's proven to be difficult to develop. He's not developing. Then I see another report. They trimmed down routes over the middle because they didn't want him to throw it over the middle. He couldn't do it, so they simplified it. Is this all right, do you believe?
Oh, yeah, I mean, for sure. And, I know Alec Lewis of The Athletic was the one that mentioned that. That was something that had been talked about, quite a bit around the team. It wasn't, he put it that way, but Aaron Jones at one point admitted to them dumbing down the offense. That was his exact words. So they clearly were not, O'Connell called it simplifying, but he called it dumbing down. And, look, when it comes to his performance for last year, there's some progress at the end of the year against some very bad teams with no stakes on the line as they had already been eliminated from the playoffs. There's just not enough there to say with any degree of certainty that he will make a jump large enough in one offseason to be a reliable starting quarterback in the NFL. Now, could it happen? Yeah, of course it could. We just saw Sam Darnold win the Super Bowl. But Sam Darnold, in his second season as a starter, would not have been a guy that you would have wanted to stake your career on. And I'm a believer that quarterbacks develop over the years and can get a lot better and can take big strides as Sam Darnold did and so forth. But do I think that this particular quarterback, with the list of things that he would need to improve very, very significantly in order to be that guy? I have a tough time seeing it because there are just so many things that need to be corrected. He strikes me as a guy that needed the Jordan Love plan of developing for 2 to 3 years behind the scenes. They wanted to roll him out because he was their top draft pick, and they had been high on him, but it clearly blew up in their face, and now it's on everybody there to try to fix it.
Talking Vikings with Matthew Collar from the Twin Cities. It's at purpleinsider.football. Find his work, get his Substack, you're good to go. So you guys just ranked, hey, here's who the Vikings could look at QB. Here's who they... So I want to ask you, where does Kyler Murray rank for you?
Kyler Murray is number one for me. I think that one thing I've been saying on my show is that absolutely no one watched the Arizona Cardinals who is having this conversation in 2024. Now, last year, he got hurt, then they tanked to get a high draft pick. That was pretty clear. They were going through an entire franchise reset, fired, their head coach and offensive coordinator and so forth. But if you look at the way Kyler Murray performed in 2024, he played a lot under center. He played a lot more in structure than he ever has when Drew Petzing, who comes from the same kind of family of offenses as the Clint Kubiaks and the Kyle Shanahans, that they put him into a lot of that stuff, building the passing game off of the run, and he was a very effective quarterback. He was PFF's 12th graded quarterback in 2024, and threw for 3,800 yards, 24 touchdowns, ran for a handful more, ran for 500 yards. If you put that level of quarterback play on the Minnesota Vikings, I think they make the playoffs pretty easily. For this year, they probably win 11 or 12 games. And a lot of the Kyler Murray stuff is all vague. And I think that there's probably truth to it, but it's, well, the guy likes video games. Okay, where did that even come from? There's a lot of players who like video games. Or it's in his contract that he has to watch film or something, which is also in a lot of contracts that there are certain details like that. It's always just been this kind of interesting narrative that seems to have come from inside the house there, from people who did not successfully build around Kyler Murray. But in this situation, you can hand a guy who's won 11 games before, who's been a top 15 quarterback before, a roster that's got Justin Jefferson on it, and a coach that got 14 wins from Sam Darnold. So I think it's the best possible situation. It's not their only option, but that's the one where I could see it having the highest ceiling, because I still believe that Kyler Murray is a very talented NFL quarterback. I know he's not perfect, but not that long ago, you would have taken him in the top 14 quarterbacks in the league pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm with you on it. I said Kyler Murray a while ago. Some people have said, no, that's crazy. Kyler, you might have to pay him, but we'll see if they cut him. And all that does factor in. So if the Cardinals cut him, you'd be in good shape. Now, here's the deal. Would he be able to deal with a struggle? J.J. McCarthy gets reps, and now we got pouting, we got a problem. That's what people think is it's either going to be Kyler Murray, or if he's not playing, you've got a problem.
Kyler Murray's playing. If he's your starting quarterback. This is what I mean, is when are we talking about the same Kyler Murray? This guy has been in his career a fantastic quarterback at times. In 2021, PFF had him as a top 10 quarterback, and he took the Cardinals to the playoffs and threw the ball to DeAndre Hopkins 100 times. This is not even remotely close to what J.J. McCarthy has been, which is a backup-level quarterback at best who cannot stay healthy for an entire season. If you acquire Kyler Murray, he is QB1, and J.J. McCarthy is not starting. There's no competition. There's no discussion. Every single rep goes to Kyler Murray, which is probably the way they have to do it if they get any of these starting-level quarterbacks. Where it could get really interesting is if they got someone like Mac Jones, which is much more of a QB competition. And so then you're leaving the door open for McCarthy, but I think you're limiting your ceiling by going and getting someone who's kind of mediocre as a starting quarterback. But for Murray, it's just odd to me that people would be so dismissive of him just because the Cardinals are not in a place where he can be their quarterback at that price, and it's not a good contract for the rest of their roster build and everything else that they can't win right now. But this is a guy who threw for almost 4,000 yards 3 straight seasons to start his career. I mean, he has been a prolific running quarterback. I just don't understand. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I look at the peak of Kyler Murray and think this is a guy who can be not Patrick Mahomes, but certainly a quarterback you can win with everything that Minnesota has.
Yeah, I'm with you on it. I really am. I wonder if the Vikings will do it just for entertainment purposes, Matthew Coller. If this goes down, Kirk Cousins reunion, and what's your story that you write if they go the Kirk Cousins reunion route?
Yeah, I mean, the newspaper headline, I think, would be like just, I mean, it's more of a noise than anything, more of a like, nah.
Oh.
Yeah, because, I mean, look, if they got Kirk Cousins and they put a lot of effort into their running game, which I think they're going to this offseason, I think they're going to draft a running back, and I think they're going to invest in even more along the offensive line at the center position for someone who can run block. And if you were a good running team, above average, and he comes back and throws the ball to Justin Jefferson 97 times, like you can be the 14th or whatever best offense in the NFL under the best circumstances. But with what's left of Kirk physically, I mean, he was never a specimen exactly, but now we're talking about an Achilles injury from a couple years ago that he never seems to have really recovered, and the fastball isn't there anymore. What's the real upside? That's why I like Kyler so much, is that, you know what? The people who don't like Kyler, you might be right. I mean, it might just completely blow up in their face, but I would vastly prefer a chance that it goes really well, as opposed to me, with Kirk, when he was really good, we saw the ceiling of that. And now he's not the player he was a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Last one for Matthew Coller. Is Aaron Jones done?
I think so, yeah. I mean, it's a contract situation. It's also an older running back thing. I think everyone loves and respects Aaron Jones in that locker room, but, the business of it is you can't count on him to be healthy at this point in his career. The explosiveness is just not there anymore, and the contract is very big. I think that was one of their worst moves last offseason, was not looking for more explosiveness in that backfield, because they love who Aaron Jones is more than they looked at it in sort of a black and white yards per carry type of thing. So I think they're going to be looking to, around Jordan Mason, rebuild that running back room.
Matthew Coller in tonight. Find him on X at Matthew Coller, and here's the site, purpleinsider.football. If you don't have it, get it, and watch the show Purple Insider as well on YouTube. Matthew, I appreciate you, man. Thanks a lot.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Matthew Coller in from the Twin Cities, Vikings coverage from purpleinsider.football. Matthew Coller on tonight, and he is endorsing the Nate Brown Show plan for the Vikings. Kyler Murray. I mean, where are you guys at? I mean, Matt Kearney, the producer of the Nate Brown Show, he's been shaking his head the last 3 weeks here when I mention it. And I've been saying it's Kyler. It's Kyler. That's who I would go and get. And then we see Albert Breer, Big Albert, said the Cardinals might cut Kyler. They might have to cut him. And then you got the Vikings swooping in. Kyler Murray is the starting QB for the Vikings, and you guys tell me what. You better be, this is going to be the show now. Now we got a show again. Can the Vikings actually make back-to-back playoffs for once? Hey, how about that for a change? Can we go back-to-back in the postseason, Kevin? So you go get Kyler Murray, and we're back in the ball game. I've been saying it. Matthew Coller just said it on South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Now you got to go and do it. All right. Well, that was fun. Matt Kearney's still shaking his head. He's a big Kyler Murray fan. Nobody like him. Anyway, John Bryce is in footballscoop.com. National college football writer. His read on these teams jumping to the FBS and what it means for the Bison and Sacramento State coming up.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
President's Day sale is on at Splash City. Rest, relax, and enjoy a new Sundance or Jacuzzi spa. Soothe your worries away with pure relaxation in the privacy of your backyard. Right now, during the President's Day sale, get 0% financing for 72 months on hot tubs and swim spas, or up to $5,000 in instant manufacturer rebates. Plus, get an accessory package valued at $2,000 with all qualifying purchases. But wait, there's more. Get 0% financing for 48 months on saunas. Visit Splash City in Sioux Falls, Rapid City, or Sioux City. It's time to make a splash. You've earned it.
Does your home have a crawl space? When cold weather arrives, that can mean cold floors, frozen pipes, and higher energy bills. Protect your family and keep the cold air out this winter with Expert Crawl Space Sealing by Blackburn Basement Systems. Sealing keeps your crawl space clean, protects pipes, and insulates your home so floors are warmer and energy bills are lower. A sealed crawl space means a nicer home. Don't wait. Call Blackburn Basement Systems today.
No one has more to choose from at a better price than Mr. Liquor in Rapid City. This month's specials include $5 off all flavors of Kahlua 750s, now $24.99. Save $5 off Traveler Whiskey from Chris Stapleton, now only $29.99. Or pick up Jameson Original and Orange 750s, now just $26.49. Price is good at both Mr. Liquor stores, off Catron next to Walmart, or on the corner of West Chicago at Sturgis Road in Rapid City.
Get ready for an unforgettable night of magic and laughter at Cadillac Jack's Gaming Resort with David Anthony's Evening of Magic and Hypnosis. Join us April 11th for a high-energy show packed with jaw-dropping illusions and hilarious interactive hypnosis that puts audience volunteers in the spotlight. Doors open at 5:30 with showtime from 6 to 7:30. It's fast-paced fun and full of surprises. You won't want to miss it. Visit CadillacJacksGaming.com to get your tickets today and see how your night plays out.
Monument Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine is everywhere you need us to be. On the sidelines, supporting our local athletes, at our clinic locations throughout the region, and at our Ortho Express walk-in clinic when you don't have time to wait. We're here when you need us, working as a team to make your comeback stronger than ever. Getting stronger, getting better, getting you back to your best self. The life of an athlete has its uncertainties, wins and losses, injury and recovery. In the Black Hills area, athletes can always count on Monument Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, here for whatever moves you.
Hi, I'm Tim Wrench, and I'm seeking personal injury cases. If you've been injured because someone else did something wrong, call me up. I'm a trial lawyer. I've tried criminal and civil cases for decades, and I can use all of that experience to help you. I also know this, that when insurance companies know that you're represented by a trial lawyer, they take your claim more seriously, and if it is to be settled, it's settled better with a trial lawyer. Wrench Law, 605-341-1111, wrenchlaw.com.
Ever since Barron's Wilson Funeral Home first opened their doors in Rapid City 140 years ago, they have continued to make personal service their number one priority. In your time of grief, they offer a personal touch by being at your side through every step of the funeral process. They answer difficult questions and guide you toward other professional services you may need. See for yourself the wide variety of services they can provide for you by visiting their website at barronswilson.com.
You're listening to The Nate Brown Show, also streaming right now on X. Follow us and watch the show live at Nate Brown Show.
It is South Dakota Sports Talk Show live, Fox Sports Radio, our affiliates across the state, KWSN Sioux Falls, Fox Sports Rapid City. Glad you're here. Pro basketball scout Chris Denker's on tonight, former D1 college coach and runs his own scouting service, Net Scouts Basketball. Chris Denker talking hoops. A lot to discuss with Chris Denker straight ahead. Just had Matthew Collar on from the Twin Cities. Interesting discussion on the Vikings. We're just waiting for him to pick up Kyler Murray. Are you guys ready? I'm ready. Matthew Collar endorsed my plan of going after Kyler Murray, so Matthew and I on the same page. Let's go to John Bryce. Haven't had him for a while. College football talk going on here in the Dakotas because of the FCS to FBS moves. The big one a week ago was North Dakota State to the Mountain West. And now this past weekend, Sacramento State out of the Big Sky. They got to go to the MAC. They got their hands full there. Ohio, Central Michigan, Western Michigan, Toledo. I mean, look out. John Bryce, footballscoop.com, national college football writer, with his reaction to some of these FCS to FBS moves. John, welcome in, man. How are you?
Great, Nate. I appreciate the opportunity to visit, and strong bumper music there with a little REM.
I like it. REM for John. Let me go to just your reaction here. I want to talk to you about quite a bit on this FCS to FBS thing. It's a big thing last couple of weeks. The big one's North Dakota State, the rival for South Dakota State, the powerhouse in the FCS. they've been working on this for 5 years at least, and then they get the opportunity to go to the Mountain West. It's going to cost them $17 million. They're going to do it. What do you think of the jump for the Bison to the Mountain West? Smart move on your part. What do you say?
I'm very intrigued by it, I will say that. And certainly the move has worked well very quickly for, say, a James Madison. It's worked moderately well for an App State. We're seeing it work okay for Jacksonville State and Delaware. North Dakota State has sustained excellence at the FCS level longer than any of those programs did. I think there's tremendous support for it. I think it's smart to go with some of these schools going football only. So, the people I talk to that are FCS head coaches, including guys last month at the FCA convention, obviously before this news was official, they were like, look, we're not competing in the same realm as North Dakota State. And you can look at what North Dakota State has done. Even when they've not won, you can look at how much they dominate, how often they're in the Final Four or the semifinals, whether they're maybe technically down or whatever. And so I just think that North Dakota State has embraced this. I think North Dakota State is in much better position to do it than Sacramento State. I'm pretty dubious on Sacramento State.
Okay, that's where I wanted to go next, because here's what I say. People are kind of making fun of Sac State, and I said they didn't plan this out right to me, John. I don't know all the inner workings, but they said they were going, and we're going no matter what. And there was no invite. There was nothing. They're out of the Big Sky Conference. Now they're trying to put together an independent schedule, and then they finally just make it happen with the MAC, and they have to pay $23 million. That's the total fee with the NCAA on top of the conference fee, and they're paying for teams to fly out to Sacramento State. So it felt like a haphazard plan that they put the cart before the horse. Why do you say Sacramento State maybe not in the FBS realm?
I don't think that they have proved that they're capable of competing at the FBS level with consistent FCS excellence. I don't think they've proved they're capable with stable leadership, both atop the athletics department or football specific. And I don't think that they've proved they have stable resources to do it with a well-thought-out plan. You just said it. Haphazard is the word. I think there's tremendous ego involved there. I think we've seen Sacramento State sort of thumb their nose at the NCAA last year when the NCAA was like, we're not talking about this. You're not moving up. And Sacramento State's president and AD were very vocal about, oh, yes, we are. And, you have Brennan Marion having the program spend tens of thousands of dollars on all this branding, clothing, and signage and everything else, saying, oh, we're the Go-Go Hornets and the Go-Go offense and Go-Go this. And then as soon as Brendan Marion can get out the door, he leaves to be Colorado's offensive coordinator. So I think North Dakota State is tremendously stable, tremendously proven, a very rabid fan base with great assets and great cachet. I don't see any of that with Sac State.
Okay, so Sacramento State, here's the one thing I will ask, though. So people are talking, you and I've talked, John, about the breakup here from the P4 and the group of 6. And there's going to be a break-off sometime. What Sac State's saying, and even North Dakota State, they're saying, we're going to get there now to the FBS. We're going to pay that price tag because when the breakoff happens, there's going to be teams like South Dakota State who are either going to be left behind or they're going to have to pay a huge amount just to get in the new FBS. Is that viable?
That's one of the things that's being discussed out there, Nate. I had Justin Roper, the Furman offensive coordinator, on my podcast last week and asked him almost that exact same question, and he's got great insight because he started his playing career at Oregon and finished as quarterback for Montana and led the Grizz to a national championship appearance during Bobby Hawk's first tenure. Now he's been with Bob Chesney at Holy Cross. Furman entering year 5 as offensive coordinator, and I asked him, and he said, I either see two things happening. One is the divide gets even greater, the halves, and he specifically referenced North Dakota State, South Dakota State, what that conference has done overall, but especially those teams along with Montana and Montana State. He said either it will get a little bit better and there will be an FCS division that is more equal and more level playing field, or he said it'll get really worse and FCS will become more like FBS and essentially have two de facto divisions within it, like the Power Conference and the G6.
So that's interesting. He's seeing the FCS maybe having there's the haves and the have-nots. But do you think a team, a school like South Dakota State should be preparing to pay a price tag in the 20 millions to try and get into an FBS conference? Do you believe they should be preparing for that at South Dakota State?
I think you have to prepare for all contingencies. I would contend overall that I don't think that would be the best expenditure of money for South Dakota State. You would have to. I would want to see the business plan that says, yes, we're going to make this $24 million upfront investment, but we believe we'll earn it back and then some in 5 years. If you think that's the case and you feel really good about your business plan and your model, then I understand that. But I still think that there's an appetite for FCS football, real FCS football. I still think that you see some schools like South Alabama, like UAB, like some of these other programs that are languishing a little bit. Now, Tarleton State, I think, is another FCS have that is getting ready to work on the FBS transition. And in talking with people around the sport, I specifically have had FCS head coaches say that Tarleton State has revenue streams and finances and resources that are in a different strata. So we are seeing some separation at the FCS level, but I still think there's a big difference in separating yourself at the FCS level where some teams don't have $500,000 to spend on their football rosters versus trying to go to the FBS level where I know for a fact, I was just with someone who was outlining it to me and revealing the figures to me that there's a MAC team this year that's going to have about $9 million invested in its football roster.
Wow.
Again, a MAC team positioned to have about $9 million invested in its football roster.
That's some action right there. That's some Tuesday night action. $9 million on a MAC roster. John Bryce is on tonight, footballscoop.com here on the Nate Brown Show. So real quick, John, the national headline came out of the Big Ten. They said, here's a proposal for a 24-team college football playoff. They're not going to let in a bunch of group of 6 teams still, but 24-team college football playoff. Do you think we get even close to that?
Not in the next couple of years, I don't. I just don't see any organic support for it outside of the Big Ten, and I don't even know how uniform the support is for it within the Big Ten. I think it presents just about as many questions as it answers. Look, there were probably 2 to 3 teams that had a legitimate right to have been in the playoff field this past year. As you and I have discussed before, I felt like the committee, maybe not from a seating standpoint, but from an inclusion standpoint, absolutely nailed the 2024 CFP field. So I just think that increasing the field by doubling it 200% is foolish to me. I think 16 is a nice number that gives you some flexibility with how you would structure it, doesn't screw up the calendar too much, still keeps your regular season meaningful. And I'm a college football diehard. I love the college football regular season. I know people will debate like why it's important or why it is not important and why it gets too much emphasis. I just think that like college football is built on the regular season and what it is meant for decades upon decades. And I think 24 teams just further erodes that.
Last one for John Bryce. Can you answer my question of the day? It's about NDSU and SDSU. So North Dakota State's going FBS. Do you think South Dakota State now loses more recruiting battles for kids with the Bison because of this?
I don't necessarily chalk that up to an automatic win for North Dakota State in recruiting. You know, Nate, from visiting with me from a couple of years ago when I forecasted the SDSU win at Colorado State. Like, I love the South Dakota State football program. I have tremendous respect for what it's done. I think it stands on its own. North Dakota State has had a little bit more visibility with what it's done in terms of putting players, especially at the quarterback position, into the NFL. But it comes down to resources. Again, I was embedded with the San Diego State program for 48 hours last week and wrote about that on Football Scoop yesterday. And it's just insightful to see, like, relationships still matter, but it's also, what are you going to offer me? And if South Dakota State is competitive in its offerings, then it's already competitive on the football field. It's competitive with resources. It's competitive with the culture, the winning, the visibility. So I'm not just automatically saying South Dakota State is going to lose X number more of recruiting battles with North Dakota State. There's still some stability at South Dakota State. There's still more known at South Dakota State. There's some unknown right now with North Dakota State, even though, again, I understand why they're making the move. And I would note, I talked to the head coach of somebody that's on North Dakota State's 26 schedule, and he told me his understanding is that North Dakota State is still looking at potentially playing at least one FCS opponent basically on a home-and-home arrangement moving forward. So I'll be curious to see how North Dakota State structures that and if they hold to keeping an FCS opponent and what path it will go down.
Very interesting. Great stuff. He's back. National college football writer, footballscoop.com. It is John Bryce. Find him on X at John D. Bryce 1 if you're not following him. John, I always appreciate you, man. Thanks a lot.
You got it, Nate. I appreciate you. Thanks for the anniversary wishes yesterday. You're the best.
Happy anniversary to John Bryce, celebrating last night. 13 years and going strong. John Bryce, footballscoop.com, national college football writer. All right, so he says he's not sure that North Dakota State just wins more recruiting battles over South Dakota State. That's our question of the day for the Nate Brown Show audience tonight. What do you say? 605-720-1067. Here's some listener text coming in. North Dakota State will win most of the recruiting battles now with regional FCS schools, including SDSU. Kids will view as a higher level of football, perhaps think they'll make a good bowl or even the playoff. That's from the text line. Listener text, yes, I'm a Jacks fan, but North Dakota State will win more recruiting battles now. Listener text, if I was a player, I would want to play with the big boys. Okay, listener text, Nate, the MAC schedule is more relevant than the Mountain West schedule. Western Michigan, Central Michigan, Ohio, Toledo, all schools that could win the Mountain West any given year. Tough road for Sac State. Tough road for Sacramento State. I wonder if they're still going to talk a bunch of smack. That didn't work out for them this last year in the FCS. I wonder if they're going to talk smack. Their president, all these guys are, hey, the Hornets are coming for you. Okay. Thanks for playing, guys. All right. You tell me, what do you say? Does North Dakota State win more recruiting battles over the Jacks now when the Bison are going to the FBS? Do they win more recruiting battles for players? 58% of you say yes, the FBS will attract. 42% of you say no, kids will still want to play for an FCS national championship. Very interesting on our Twitter poll. You let me know, 605-720-1067 on the Barons-Wilson text line. We'll give you a free buffet to the Pizza Ranch tonight. Just for answering the question of the day, we'll pull a winner out at the end of the show. Coming right back, I need your help, the audience tonight, about a dilemma that I'm faced with my alma mater, my high school. I need your feedback next.
This is the Nate Brown.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Show your home some love with an upgrade to Acclaim replacement windows and an ensemble entry door. Get 20% off windows and doors with no money down, no interest, and no payments for 12 months. Plus, get an extra 5% off the entire project if purchased on initial consultation. Energy efficient, durable, and custom made for the perfect fit. It's time to show your home some love. Call today or visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
What do you call a place that's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait, there's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
There are 1 billion credit card transactions around the world every day. That's 11,698 swipes a second. It's easy to forget that behind each one, there's a person, a family, a dream, a connection being made. The Black Hills Federal Credit Union Visa, for members who want to make the most of every transaction.
Show from East River to West River. This is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show.
It is your sports, your show, The Nate Brown Show live. South Dakota Sports Talk Show on KWSN, Fox Sports Sioux Falls, and Fox Sports Rapid City. Glad you're here. We are live every afternoon drive. Hope you're joining us on your drive home. Hope you've had a great Tuesday. It is always a great day in South Dakota. You know that. If you missed parts of the show, go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. It is available yesterday. Some great guests, Derek Roby, Sioux Falls O'Gorman, head boys basketball coach, 40 seasons of coaching high school hoops. He's calling it good this year. Talked to him about his career and how it's different from when he started to now coaching basketball. Jim O'Day joined us yesterday, former athletic director, University of Montana. Great interview with him, his perspective of Sacramento State going to the FBS and that whole deal. The Nate Brown Show podcast available on Apple, Spotify, Amazon. Just download it. Search The Nate Brown Show wherever you get your podcasts, and you've got us. Coming up, pro basketball scout Chris Denker. I got a lot to discuss with him when it comes to hoops. Net Scouts basketball. Former D1 coach Chris Denker's on the way. You know this song right now. This song played after we won every high school football game. Yes. So a little history lesson on the Nate Brown Show. When we won our high school football game every Friday night, we played this song right here. So I'm bringing you back to this. Why? Well, you know, we had some success back in the old good state of Montana. We had some success. We won some trophies. No, I didn't win a state championship, but I played at them, okay? We came up second. We got the silver trophy. We got the big one. And here's what I get from my former high school. They have reached out to me and others that have been part of these winning teams back in the day in my high school in Montana, and here's how this is relevant. They're saying there's a new trend going on. Some high schools and colleges are going to virtual trophy cases. So I got reached out because my old high school is running out of room. The administration says they're running out of room for all of our trophies. So they're going to start taking them down, 80s, 90s, then into the 2000s. They're going to start taking down the older trophies to put up the new trophies for the kids that are winning now. And so here's what's happened. There's this capital campaign. They're trying to raise $3,000 to get this virtual trophy case. And it's a screen. It's going to be a touch screen. You can pick the year, and you can say, hey, there, Nate Brown was a part of this team that finished second. What a loser. So you can pick it, and you can see, is this the same? I mean, I went back to my old high school. I like looking back into the 60s, 70s. I like looking back to man, these are the OGs, right? They won. They here's the names, and you recognize them. They're in your community. I was from a small town in Montana, so it kind of brought home they finished first or second or whatever. Is a virtual trophy case where we're at in 2026? They're asking me for a donation. I'm going to donate to my school. I don't care. I'm going to donate to my school. You have to do stuff like this for your high school and give back. But I'm mixed on a virtual trophy case, and they showed us mock-ups of it, the touch screen, and how it's going to look with the logo, the Columbus Cougars, and it's going to look all cool. Are people going to think that's cool? It's going to be outside the gym. So that's my second question of the day. I need your support. I need your help on this. What do you say about a new idea of an interactive digital trophy case? Is this going to start happening in more schools? They say this has already happened at some high schools. They've just done away with the old trophies, and then they do the new the virtual trophy, and they put pictures in. And they say it's better because you can click on all the videos from that year. Like for kids winning now, you could click on highlights. You could click on stories. You could click on interviews on the Nate Brown Show. Hey, you were on the Nate. Okay, cool. Is that cooler than looking at the old gold, silver, whatever trophies that are hanging on the wall? Isn't there something about trophies hanging on the wall at a school? I still think there is. My school is going to go to a digital trophy case. The administration said we're running out of room. But again, I want to know what you think of. Is this 2026? That's just the way it is. Sorry, old guys, you old heads. Your trophies are coming down, and mine are getting ready to come down. You tell me, virtual trophy case, yay or nay? If you were approached, let's say, you guys played high school sports, a lot of you guys. They approached you and said, hey, trophy's going to be coming down, but we'll have it virtual. You got a virtual trophy case that you can look at. What would you say on that? What would you say, okay? Cool idea. It's 2026. Or, no, you can't take down the old trophies. Now, they're not destroying the old trophies. They did tell me that. They're put in storage. Oh, you put them in a storage bin? I got to look through. They're going to have mice around them, all this and that. Thanks for calling tonight. You're live, and you go ahead. Are you there? No? All right. He was. Now he's not. You tell me on the text line. Listener text, I'm a huge no. Okay? I'm kind of, I'm trying to, hey, maybe it's okay. Maybe it's cool. Listener text, why not do both? That's not bad. See, they're saying there's not enough room. They got the big hallways outside of the gym. They showed me the pictures at my old high school, and they said, hey, we're running out of room. But yet we have a big stuffed cougar that's in a huge glass case that takes up the whole side of... Anyway, that's cool, though. I mean, that's pretty cool, a stuffed cougar. Who has that in their school? Let's see. I'm a nay. Listener text coming in. I would vote for give to your school, but also... make sure that they keep your trophies. Okay. Well, they're going to keep the trophies. They're just not telling us where. By the way, what could we do here? What could we do to keep the trophies displayed? I think you got to keep the trophies displayed. I don't like taking down trophies from the old school guys. I don't like taking down the trophies. I mean, what they're waiting for is they're waiting for guys like me to die. They're waiting for me to die. There's like, well, then they don't care. That's mean. That's mean stuff. Don't take down the old school trophies. Keep them up. If you want to do the digital trophy case, I guess that's fine, but I'm with the listener who said do both. Let's see. Somebody will want that conference championship trophy from 1985. Yes, I know. This is what I'm saying. I'm like, could I make a big donation to get I played in the state championship basketball game. State championship. We got second. Can I get that trophy? I don't think they'd give it to me, right? I'd put it up here in the studio. The all-time honor. You'd have the second place 1999 state championship. You'd have it right there. I think you got to keep the old trophies. Lister text, I would auction off the old trophies as a fundraiser. Oh, that's what he's saying. Okay. Not bad. Not bad, huh? Oh, what would you give for your trophy from back in the day? Hey, what are people saying online on this? Let's see. You can't take down the trophy. 70% of the audience on Twitter said you cannot ever take down the old trophies. 30% of you say it's an okay idea. Get with it. It's 2026 virtual trophy case. All right. It's an interesting plan. I still haven't made my donation. I better get on that. And then I look forward to seeing a virtual trophy case. What's that going to look like? That'll be interesting. Sign of the times. Coming right back, let's jump into this. Mark Cuban. You know Mark, right? Outspoken, former owner of the Mavericks. I think he said something stupid today. Coming up.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
How do you make a buffet day even better? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade is your place for good food and good times. Won the big game? Make it a play day. Aced your test? Make it a play day. Just need to get out of the house? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade has all your favorites and all kinds of fun. So bring your family, bring your friends, bring your team. For good food and good times, make it a buffet day and a play day at the Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade.
At Dakota Bank, we're more than just a place to bank. We're your neighbors. From everyday banking to home mortgages, insurance, and trust services, we're here for every step of your financial journey. We believe in doing what's right for you because we live here, work here, and care about our communities just like you do. Go with confidence, go with trust, go with Dakota Bank. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Insurance and investment products are not FDIC insured, may lose value, and have no bank guarantee.
Take relaxation to the next level with your very own hot tub from Tin Lizzy Gaming Resort. We've teamed up with Rapid Spa to give away a brand new hot tub package worth over $23,000. All month long, earn free daily entries just by using your Clubhouse card when you play, or sign up for a free Clubhouse card today. Play more, earn more entries. Then be here February 21st and you could be our grand prize winner. Learn more at tinlizzy.com.
Since 1928, Connect Home Center has been proud to serve Rapid City and Spearfish with quality products and customer service that you can trust. In 2000, Connect joined the Mead Lumber family, and now they're taking the next step into their journey. Connect Home Center is becoming Mead Lumber. Same people, same service, just a new name from design to finish. Mead Lumber is here for you, as they've always been. MeadLumber.com.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
What makes a credit union different from a bank? At Highmark Credit Union, it starts with you. We're member-owned, not shareholder-driven. That means our earnings go back to you through better rates, lower fees, and personal service. Unlike big banks, we put people first. You're not just an account number, you're part of a community. Highmark Credit Union. Local, personal, and here for you. We'll make it happen. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Chatting with Brian at Anytime Auto Sales. Winter is here, and as always, we're here to help with all your winter automotive needs. From mobile oil changes to around the wheel and under the hood repairs, we fix most everything, and we'll do it at an affordable price. What about tires, batteries, and brakes? Absolutely. With over 50 brand name tires, we have deals as good as anywhere. 10% off our Duralast Pro Power Ultra batteries, a 5-year battery with roadside assistance, and flat out the best brake deal around at just $399 per axle with new pads, rotors, labor, and a lifetime warranty for most vehicles. Fantastic. And if people need financing, can you help there? Yes, we can. We offer the AutoPass card, an interest-free card for 6 months on every repair over $199, which saves a lot of people who need immediate help with repairs. Get an answer in minutes from our homepage at anytimeanytime.com. Just click the AutoPass Apply Now button. Take advantage of that card, people. See anytimeanytime.com. And, of course, at the corner of Highway 79 and East Minnesota.
Anytime Auto Sales.
One more time. This is the Nate Brown Show. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, welcome back in. Just getting going in the second hour now. You found us, South Dakota Sports Talk Show, live on Fox Sports Radio, KWSN Sioux Falls. Welcome in. And Fox Sports Rapid City, the Nate Brown Show live. Great guest coming up. Chris Denker is his name, former D1 head basketball coach at Santa Clara. Now pro basketball scout, runs his own AAU. It's called Net Scouts Basketball. Chris Denker talking hoops. I want his perspective on our next topic coming up. Zach Borg's in tonight, Midwest Sports Plus, high school sports broadcaster live from Sioux Falls. Borg is checking in as well. The Nate Brown Show powered by Black Hills Federal Credit Union, my family's banking partner. And I'm trying to tell you, if you don't have the right bank, get a bank that works for you. And BHFCU is great. I have their app on my phone. Saves me a ton of time. You can be a member at BHFCU, get all the great rates. Whether it's vehicle loans, business loans, best in technology and convenience, 18 locations from the Black Hills to Sioux Falls. Go to bhfcu.com. Take a look for yourself. Become a member. We switched from our last bank. I invite you to do it. It's easy to do, and then you get all the advantages at Black Hills Federal Credit Union, bhfcu.com. Start there. Get started. Become a member and get a bank that works for you. Okay, listener text coming in. A lot of people sounding off on the virtual trophy case. My old high school in Montana, going to switch it up. They're taking down some of the old trophies to make room for the new trophies. Now, by the way, you can't be taking down our state championship trophies. I mean, I got a second place. My brother got a first place in football, 1992. You can't be taking down those to put up, like, district champions or second place at district, right? 2024, second place at district. No. Get that out of here. By the way, we did have somebody respond. You cannot, it said digital for all trophies which are not state or conference championships. Okay, so that's an interesting response. They say you should go digital for all trophies that are not state level or conference championships. Not a bad idea. I got a family member that chimed in here tonight. She's great. A family member talking about trophies in Montana, saying they need to keep the old ones and do a small capital campaign to expand a trophy room off the gym or something. The virtual trophy case is not the same. Yeah, that's what it feels like. The virtual trophy case. My old high school wants to do it. My question of the day is that just how we're doing it now in 2026? There's colleges that have started it. Some high schools run out of room for trophies over all the years, so now they're going to the virtual trophy case. Are you okay with it? Let us know on the text line, 605-720-1067. Sign of the times, it's 2026, or no, you can't take down the old trophies from the 70s, 80s, 90s. Okay, before I get to Chris Denker, my next guest, I'm going to ask him about what Mark Cuban just said today. So if you're following this at all, everybody says the NBA has a big problem because there's the top teams in the NBA, and you enter this time of year and you start seeing the top teams, and then if you're not one of the top playoff teams, they think you're tanking to try and get a top pick. So everybody, all the national media is on this thing. Does the NBA have a tanking problem? What can they do? I understand, guys. Tanking for the top pick, the lottery, the whole thing. I don't know how you're going to fix that. I don't know what you're going to do there. But Mark Cuban just made a bad statement today. He said, NBA tanking's going on. The NBA team should embrace that. I mean, I was sitting here reading this going, is Mark Cuban really saying this? How do you embrace tanking, Mark? Well, he said the NBA is so misguided thinking that tanking is what's on people's minds and people are upset about it. He said what's actually the case, he said, I owned a team. I know what's going on. They actually just want to come to the games and have a great experience. He said it's not tanking where teams are losing on purpose. That's a problem. The fans don't care. Here's what he said. He wrote a long post today, but here's part of it. What the fans remember is who they were with, their family, their friends, a date. That's what makes the NBA experience special. Fans know their team can't win every game. They know only one team can win a title. What fans care about is their team's hope. They just want hope. They're in the business of creating experiences for fans. Few can remember the score from the last game they saw. I mean, Mark Cuban's saying that fans that are going to the NBA games really don't care if teams are losing. They just want a good experience. I'm going to give him just a little bit of leeway. A little bit. Do people want to be entertained? Yes. Do some fans not care if they win or lose? Yes. So there's a casual fan that wants to go to the Timberwolves game. They don't care if the Timberwolves are as bad as they used to be or if they got Anthony Edwards and they're really, really good now. There is a casual section of those. But I do think sports fans that Mark Cuban needs to buy the gear, to buy the tickets, to spend all this money, I do think those sports fans care if the teams are trying to win. Mark Cuban's trying to, just embrace tanking. Just make it a good experience. Yes, have wiener dog races. You might be familiar. No, I mean, is that what it's about? You guys just go to watch the wiener dog races? This isn't, I mean, minor league baseball, minor league hockey, stuff like this. That's the experience. The promotions, the fun. Yes, sometimes people don't care if the minor league hockey or minor league baseball team's winning. Sports fans, NBA level, how much ever money you're spending, I've gone to NBA games. I think you care. If you're a fan of the team, you care. I can't buy this. Embrace tanking. It's not a big deal. Just make sure you get a good experience for the fans. Is it fun? Do you have some interactive stuff? Do you have this, that? I still think sports fans want teams to compete. They're spending money to watch your team. They don't want, it was a fun experience. Yeah, we lost by 30. Are we competitive or are we not? What does Chris Danker say about this? He's been around pro basketball a long time, former D1 college coach as well. I want to talk to Chris Danker coming up live from San Jose, California on the way.
This is the Nate Brown.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. the #1 hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Show your home some love with an upgrade to Acclaim replacement windows and an ensemble entry door. Get 20% off windows and doors with no money down, no interest, and no payments for 12 months. Plus, get an extra 5% off the entire project if purchased on initial consultation. Energy efficient, durable, and custom made for the perfect fit. It's time to show your home some love. Call today or visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
What do you call a place? It's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait, there's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute, and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
Are there as many kinds of vehicles as there are kinds of people? We think so. At Black Hills Federal Credit Union, we help all kinds of people come together with all kinds of vehicles. With loans made to fit everyone and every ride.
All right, welcome back in. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live on Fox Sports Radio. Second hour, glad you're here. Thanks for making this show possible. The Nate Brown Show, glad to have you on board. Chris Denker joins us on the Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline. Former D1 college coach, NetScoutsBasketball.com, his company. Pro Basketball Scout, AAU. He's got it going on. Chris Denker talking hoops on the Nate Brown Show. Chris, welcome in. How are you?
I'm good, Nate. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you, as always. Once you're taking a few basketball topics, I'm going to go to this first. I just did a segment on it. Mark Cuban said something today that I have an issue with. I don't know. He owned the Mavericks. He's a business guy. He knows what he's doing. He was weighing in on the NBA tanking issue. So you got all these teams here in this part of the season now start tanking. They're trying to get the top pick and rebuild their organization and the whole thing. He said, we just got to embrace that. The fans don't care about tanking. He said they care about the experience. They care about affordability. Can they come and watch the games and have a good time? They don't remember the scores. They don't know if their team wins every game. I think there is a section of fans that are just going for fun, but I think a lot of sports fans do really care. What'd you make of Cuban's statement?
Yeah, no, your last statement kind of is what I agree with, in that I'm sure there's a few that just go to the game for some entertainment for sure, but I think that the great majority of fans, really want their team to succeed. And then that goes whether it's the NBA or certainly in the NFL. I mean, we just recently obviously coined a Super Bowl champion, and so there's a lot of teams that are looking already towards next year and all that. But if you look at the teams that didn't even make the playoffs and how all the coaching changes and all the disappointed fans and the attendance, I think the same rings true for the NBA. I think that, more than likely, I don't have the data in front of me, but I would assume that the teams that are good have better attendance than the ones that are not. And so while there are some people that just want to go see some, entertainment and who the star player is, that, when LeBron James's team comes into town, they'll go watch. But when it's their team playing another low-level team, I think they don't. So I don't know that I agree with him on that.
So here's the problem with the tanking as well. How they tank is they hold guys out. So they hold some stars out. Hey, we're not in this. Why are we going to play this guy, play that guy? So when I'm going to a game, I want to watch the stars, do we not? I mean, I think that's a big issue on the tanking side is the players not playing when I'm spending big money.
Yeah, so there's a couple angles there too. So one of which is, you had the load management thing, which I think you and I have talked about before, where guys will just sit out certain games. And then the league put in the rule, I want to say it's 65 some odd games, where if you don't play, X number of games, you can't win MVP or, best defensive player, et cetera, and even be available to make the All-Star team. And then that could impact maybe a guy's bonuses and the incentives he has in his contracts. But then, now you're talking about the draft aspect of it. So tank to get higher in the draft lottery. But there's another way that this is happening where they're actively playing a guy and tanking. And so what I mean by that is, let's just say a team that's not in this discussion. Let's say it's the Warriors, the team that I'm nearest to. Steph Curry starts and plays in the first quarter, and so the fans get to say, well, we saw Steph Curry. By league rule, he played, but now he doesn't play quarters 2, 3, and 4, and, you're tanking. I mean, you're not playing Steph Curry. You're not trying to win that game, and so that's happening a lot. You look around the league where a guy might play, it could be Lauri Markkanen. I mean, if he's a 30-minute a game to 40-minute a game guy, and all of a sudden he played 12 minutes, but he's healthy, and he starts the next night. Well, there's a reason for that, and that's starting to happen a little bit too.
So do you think Adam Silver can make any adjustments to the lottery? Some people are trying to figure out how you not have to, it's like, oh, well, how about just the top 20 teams? It's the top 20 teams. And then somebody said, well, if you're 21, then you're going to tank to get into the top 20. So you're just, it's one of those things like, how do you fix where the draft lottery goes so teams stay competitive all the way?
Yeah, and I don't have an answer for that. I think that's something that needs to be looked at, though, for sure. And I've often wondered, the math of the lottery. Of course, we've always heard all the, the conspiracy theorists and whatnot that say, oh, even the lottery's rigged and all that. So I don't know. But I definitely think there's got to be something looked at as it relates to that because, these teams are just trying to get into that, top 4, where you really have the most chance at winning, the first pick in that lottery. And I think this year, 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 deep is still going to be strong. But, it's something that they definitely better get a look at and start figuring it out now because it's only going to get worse.
Will they ever shorten an NBA season? There was talk this week of that should be Adam Silver's goal, is to shorten an NBA season a little bit to make sure players are competing, injuries, not tanking, shorten up the season. Do you think that's viable?
See, I think it would be viable, but I think the answer was in your first question, which is a former owner, guy who's still close to it, and Mark Cuban, basically his answer is it's all about entertainment. Well, wouldn't you want a game every night of the week if it's just about entertainment and money and bringing in fans? And so from that owner's perspective, it's more about just the entertainment side of the game, which again, if you go back to even, you want to go way back and you start talking about, well, why is there a 24-second shot clock? Why is there, an illegal defense rule and some of these sorts of things, even with the way they're, instructed to call fouls? It's because they want more scoring. They want more star power. They want more points, more entertainment, so to speak. So, I don't think shortening the season would be bad, and for all the things we've just previously discussed, I think it would maybe help that. But I don't think that's ever going to happen. Even again, go back to the NFL, they're talking about expanding it, even maybe playing another game. So, no, I don't think they will.
Chris Danker on tonight, NetScoutsBasketball.com. His company is former D1 college head coach, talking hoops tonight By the way, I'm going to an April 4th Spurs-Nuggets game. Spurs-Nuggets, late in the season. Nobody's going to be tanking, but do I have a shot to watch Jokic against Wembanyama that late in the year? Am I going to watch both?
That'd be a big one. That'll be a huge game. I definitely. I think they'll both play. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll see. We'll see. Let me go to this college story. So Jerome Tang gets fired at Kansas State. He struggled there winning. They just gave him a contract extension. That's how these deals go, Chris. You've been in this game. You win. He got an extension. Now he's losing. He made a comment at the press conference. These guys don't deserve to wear the K-State uniform. It's embarrassing. And now the school's trying to say that was a national embarrassment for the university. That's in his contract. We're not going to pay his buyout. What do you think of that whole scenario?
Yeah, it's sad, and it's it is definitely getting a lot of national attention, as you said. They were trending the wrong way. They weren't doing well this year, but it's been a couple years, where they haven't been what they I think it was his first year maybe that they went to the Elite Eight, and he inherited some good players. They brought in some good players, and they had a good run. But since then, I mean, I think he's winning about 55% of his games, losing record in the Big 12. And nowadays coaches I think he's making almost $4 million a year. He's got, 18 and change on his buyout, which I think is then why, they wanted to fire him for cause. The idea behind that is then you don't have to pay him his buyout. Now, the idea of negative speech or, negative image to Kansas State. Look, this isn't the first time anybody's ever gone into a press conference and said they're disappointed in their team. And it certainly isn't the first time, somebody suggested, well, they don't deserve to be able to wear these uniforms, et cetera. As a matter of fact, I won't name names, but I can name men's and women's coaches who have said, okay, you 12 players, you're out of the locker room until you prove to me you deserve this fancy locker room, or you're not going to wear practice gear. You bring your own gear, and we'll treat it like a PE or a high school team or something, And this is not the first, and I would say it's probably not the last. I mean, this happens a lot. So, I think Kansas State. It's probably happened at Kansas State. And so they're probably. I think they were looking for. Wow, we're not as good as I had hoped when I gave him that extension. And how do we get out of this? Well, there's an $18 million buyout. Well, but if we fire him for cause, right. And then the second part of that is, well, what if he sues us? Okay, we'll agree to an $8 million buyout. That's not 18, and then we can still get a new coach. So I just think that there's some, some of that going on. But I think there's probably bigger or a couple more issues. We talk NIL, we talk talent evaluation, recruiting. I mean, there's things that maybe he's done wrong. A lot of schools are doing wrong, but I think in this day and age with NIL, everybody wants immediate satisfaction.
Yeah, it's really difficult, I'm telling you. Can you put together a new team through NIL? Can you put together a new team and have success every year? A new team every year. Is that what it looks like?
You have to. You absolutely have. You're right there. I mean, I think that's probably where he, and I think a lot of programs, are going wrong. I think that they're throwing around money. Okay, say what you want, but Kentucky's one end of it, right, where they're throwing $20 million, $22 million on this roster. But they got a bad mix of guys. And when I say a bad mix, I mean they don't have shooters. Okay, they don't really have point guard type distributor passers. They went out and got a bunch of the same sort of thing. They went after size and athleticism and kind of this flashy, when I'm looking at your web page, Nate Brown averaged 28 a game and blah, blah, blah. And then I go get the other guy who's exactly like Nate Brown. Well, right. The two of you are going to have to learn to play together. And
right.
And so I just think that there's bad fit. But that, Kentucky's winning some games. Now, they've lost more than I think people think they should. But my point being is then you got the Kansas States that did a bad job of it. Okay, another example is Oregon. Oregon spent some money and got some guys and did whatever, and they're also losing, won't make postseason.
Yeah.
But then on the other side of it, they had two of their guys. At one point, they were playing a game. They showed a picture, and the graphic was $1.3 million sitting on the bench because these guys were hurt. So, you have to put together your roster. You've got to be able to evaluate talent. You got to be able to look at a guy and go, okay, here's how he did it. Georgetown or Murray State or South Dakota State or UCLA, whatever level the guy's at, whatever his role was on that team, how's that going to suit you and your team and the other players you're bringing in? Because if it doesn't, you're in trouble. And then, again, the money you've got. I think the other thing you got to look at if you're Kansas State, and it's hard for people to hear this, but, going to Manhattan, Kansas, it's 50,000 people, something like that, a couple hours away from Kansas City. I mean, it's not like, you're at University of Texas of Austin or, Villanova right in Philadelphia or, name your school. So I think that there's different levels here, the support, the facilities, et cetera, and the budget, and you better do a good job. But, the other thing is then the players, right? So I heard Florida's football coach, new guy, talking about, well, I treat these guys like pros. They're getting paid like pros. They want to make money like pros. Well, then they need to act like pros. But the thing is that isn't what you could go on there and you listen to the Kansas State athletic director as he's talking about firing the coach for that. He'll say, well, young people and student athletes and blah, 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 blah. No, these aren't young people, student athletes like we used to use those terms. These are guys we're giving millions of dollars to. And then they're going to be gone in a year to go somewhere else and make more. And so there's a real miss right now all across the board in all of Division I basketball as it relates to kind of the NIL, the roster management and formation, and then the players and their side of it and the coaches and their side of it. It's out of control.
You got to build a new team every year, and sometimes it's not working out, as you can see. Chris Denker on tonight talking hoops. We'll do it again. It's that time of year, Chris. I hope to get you more. Appreciate you coming on. Thanks.
Love it, Nate. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Chris Denker, former D1 college coach. He's been there, done that. NetScoutsBasketball.com. Pro Basketball Scout live from California. Let's come back to South Dakota with Zach Borg talking high school and college. Midwest Sports Plus, Zach Borg coming up.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Show your home some love with an upgrade to Acclaim replacement windows and an ensemble entry door. Get 20% off windows and doors with no money down, no interest, and no payments for 12 months. Plus, get an extra 5% off the entire project if purchased on initial consultation. Energy efficient, durable, and custom made for the perfect fit. It's time to show your home some love. Call today or visit RVARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
What do you call a place that's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait, there's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
There are 1 billion credit card transactions around the world every day. That's 11,698 swipes a second. It's easy to forget that behind each one, there's a person, a family, a dream, a connection being made. The Black Hills Federal Credit Union Visa, for members who want to make the most of every transaction.
Subscribe to The Nate Brown Show on YouTube.
Welcome back in the Nate Brown Show live, Fox Sports Radio, KWSN Sioux Falls, and Fox Sports Rapid City. The official outfitter of South Dakota Sports Talk Show is South Dakota's best outfitter, Trav's Outfitter. Look at them online, travsoutfitter.com, when it comes to work boots. If you're on your feet for a living, you know it matters, man. You got to get the right boots. They've got them. travsoutfitter.com, and a brand new store in Rapid City. Check them out on Campbell Street. It's not about a quick sale at Trav's. They want you coming back for your next pair. Family-owned South Dakota independent retailer. Best selection, best service, no BS at travsoutfitter.com. Zach Borg's on tonight, Midwest Sports Plus. These guys have been doing games, man. A lot of coverage, a lot of basketball on Midwest Sports Plus. Zach, welcome in. How are you?
Pretty good. Ironically, it's a Tuesday night, and I'm taking my one break out of the week. So
I see that.
I think we've got like 5 games on tonight. So it really doesn't stop. Although I think we only have another week after this in the regular season, and then we hit tournament time.
It is that time of year. So check us out on Midwest Sports Plus. We are live right now on Midwest Sports Plus. So I'm going to go college first. My question of the day: with North Dakota State going to the FBS, do they win more recruiting battles against South Dakota State in the FCS? What do you say?
Well, it's a nuanced question. We're going to have to take some time, and I say this with everything that North Dakota State is doing. It's going to take more than a year or two to figure this out. I think the key thing here is that unless they start making it to the college football playoff a bunch, I don't really think so, and I think this is on 2 counts. Number one, they don't really recruit that much in South Dakota anymore. I think that's kind of a thing that people have kind of forgotten. Ever really since Tyler Roll left that team and that program, they've kind of gone away, and now being in the Mountain West, they're going to have to kind of expand their footprint a little bit more. Maybe go out to California a little bit more. Maybe go to Texas maybe a little bit. So they're going to have to do some different things, but I don't really foresee them going into South Dakota nearly as much as they did when they started kind of building the FCS dynasty, because they don't do that now. I think you look at their last signing class, which occurred in a year where SDSU was down, by the standards they've been. They didn't have a single South Dakota high school recruit on their roster this last year. And I don't know, the second part of that is, if they're not in that college football playoff every year, and again, I don't think that's going to be an easy thing to do, because you're fighting for one spot, and again, I think this last year is an aberration we're not going to see again where 2 teams get in. I say this, I know that's been kind of the thing we've talked about as well. We're going to have the Montanas and the Dakotas. It's like, okay, but if you can't have that card, then how appealing is it to go to bowl games against other MAC, AAC schools, or playing at home and playing for national championships? So, do you think they're going to go to Montana and really woo that many kids away from playing in the Brawl of the Wild as opposed to playing for the Cure Bowl? So I don't know. It's going to be, we'll see with time. I think the one thing that'll be interesting, because I also know a number of SDSU kids, especially during the Jimmy Rogers era, were turning down Power 4 offers to stay at SDSU. So we'll see where it goes, but I think it's kind of a misnomer that NDSU is really recruiting that much in South Dakota. I think they've kind of gone away from it, and I don't know that going to the FBS is going to change that philosophy very much.
Let me ask you about Sacramento State. I asked the audience, is this a long-term benefit? I know we're making light of it, and I've said their plan has been haphazard, and they've said they're going no matter what, and I think they've messed it up. Will they benefit long-term from the FBS?
Well, it's going to be a question we'll have to know in 5 years. Obviously, that's the term of this, which I've never really heard. And I think two things to bear in mind. You heard it's in the language, I believe, of the NDSU deal, is that I know NDSU, I don't think it's the full amount of revenue from the media rights, correct me if I'm wrong, for 5 years. That's also the term of this Sac State deal, where they aren't going to get any rights. They've got to pay everything out. 5 years from now is when the college football playoff gets renegotiated. That's when that deal is up after 2031, doing it in 2032. So, obviously there's always been the talk about, are we ever going to get a split? Maybe it comes sooner. I don't know. But I think there's a lot of banking on the fact that maybe this is all going to remain intact come 2032. But I think for Sac State, if they don't end up in the Pac-12 or the Mountain West, this is going to be a disaster. I mean, that has to be the long-term play. Because when you go back to what they were doing when they wanted to go FBS, a lot of it was about, hey, we need to be in the West. We need to be on a West Coast league where we can play California schools and former West Coast rivals, because this will really drive up the interest in us. And now you're playing schools out of Ohio and New York and Massachusetts. I mean, I think once the new car smell wears off, especially when you're playing on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I don't know how much interest this is going to drive in California. So if they're successful, I think they could be in the Pac-12 or the Mountain West. But boy, if you become the next UMass and you're going 0-12 or 1-11 and 2-10, then what happens in 5 more years when this deal is allegedly up? I don't know. And I don't know that they have all the money they claim to have. I mean, they've been claiming they're going to build a new stadium, and they're on their second stadium project now, and there still isn't a dirt and shovel. So, it's not nearly as well thought out, I think, as what NDSU did.
This is Zach Borg. He's on tonight, broadcaster, Sioux Falls Midwest Sports Plus. I want to shift to this high school matchup tonight. Give me your read. Sioux Falls Lincoln boys hosting Roosevelt tonight. Who has that edge?
Oh, boy, I think this is going to be a fun one. Obviously, Roosevelt's coming off they lost at the buzzer to Watertown. Lincoln's been, I don't want to say they're scuffling because they're still unbeaten, but obviously T played them to within 2 points. A couple nights ago, they had another really tight game. I think Lincoln is still the class of the AA, but anytime you play a long season, you're bound to have some close calls. The first time they played at the Pentagon, Lincoln took them to the woodshed. It was 69-50, but I think Roosevelt's improved a lot. I still think on Lincoln's home floor they're going to get the win, but I think this is going to be a lot closer. And you never know. I mean, obviously, with Mitch Begeman, he's going to want to run up and down and really push the pace of that one. So we'll see where Lincoln's at. But they've kind of had some lower scoring tight battles of late. If they can really get running and maybe, kind of get them sucking some wind late in the fourth quarter, I'm curious to see what this will look like. But it could easily be a state preview, or, I think I wouldn't discount T area either. They don't have a whole lot of depth, but their starting 5 is really good. So I think Lincoln, again, still the class, and I would still kind of expect Lincoln to win tonight, but I think we're starting to see that, maybe on any given night out in Rapid City next month, something could happen.
Big games tonight in AA hoops across the board on the boys' side. Zach Borg, these guys are covering it. Midwest Sports Plus. Postseason's almost here. Find them at Midwest Sports Plus and on X at Ice Borg. Zach, good to have you as always, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Nate. Take care.
See ya. Zach Borg on tonight from Midwest Sports Plus. If you don't have the new high school sports streaming app, check it out. Great coverage across the board. Games all season long. Who's hot and who's not? Major League Baseball has a little issue today coming up.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
Does your home have a crawl space? When cold weather arrives, that can mean cold floors, frozen pipes, and higher energy bills. Protect your family and keep the cold air out this winter with Expert Crawl Space Sealing by Blackburn Basement Systems. Sealing keeps your crawl space clean, protects pipes, and insulates your home so floors are warmer and energy bills are lower. A sealed crawl space means a nicer home. Don't wait. Call Blackburn Basement Systems today.
The following radio ad is Good Fun Squad approved.
Hey, I'm Dylan, and I'm a South Dakota Lottery intern. I've learned some pretty cool things here at the lottery. Like, did you know 100% of the money we make goes back to the state, including millions every year for education? That's awesome, right? I also learned there's a machine for making your own coffee. Who knew? Anyway, learn more about where South Dakota Lottery money goes at goodfunsd.com.
Good fun.
Must be 18 or older to play. Please play responsibly.
Doesn't matter where your ride's from. At Al's D&I, we baby them, every single one. Got a ride from across the pond? No worries. Let the ASE certified pros at Al's D&I pamper your pride and joy. Foreign or domestic, maintenance or repair. Doesn't matter if it requires special parts or tools or if its owner's manual is in another language. At Al's D&I, we don't care where your ride's from, but we do take great care to treat your ride like it is our own. Drive on in to Al's D&I, Sturgis Road, and online at alsdniautorepair.com.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Chance for rain tonight, otherwise mainly clear skies. Lows level off around 25. Northwesterly winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Mainly sunny skies tomorrow, chance for snow. Daytime highs approaching 43. Cloudy tomorrow night, snow likely 10 above. 1 to 3 inches of snow tomorrow night through Thursday. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, it's 50 degrees.
Luck runs deep at Cadillac Jack's Gaming Resort, where you could win a share of $86,000 in cash and prizes. Every Friday and Saturday night from 8 p.m. till midnight, Cadillac Jack's will have drawings twice per hour, with cash and prizes growing all night long. Starting at $300 and building up to 3 chances to win $1,000 between 11 p.m. and midnight. Big wins every weekend, no waiting for one grand prize night. See how far your luck can take you at Cadillac Jack's Gaming Resort. How will your night play out?
Shop the area's best selection of pre-owned Hondas and Honda certified pre-owned at Danny Mano Rushmore Honda. Get financing as low as 1.49% APR for 60 months on certified pre-owned Accords, CRVs, HRVs, and Pilots. Plus, shop a lot full of used imports and domestics. Virtually any make or model, including a great selection of all-wheel drives and 4x4s. See us at Danny Mano Rushmore Honda or RushmoreHonda.com. $17.31 per $1,000 finance, regardless of down payment, with qualified credit.
Western style isn't stuck in the past. It's built for today. At Trav's Outfitter, we carry modern Western boots from brands you know and trust. Brands like Haier, Ariat, and Tecovas. Clean lines, broken-in comfort, and craftsmanship that fits right in, whether you're at work, out for the night, or anywhere in between. Wherever you're headed, your boots will be right there with you. Visit us in the old Kmart building. Trav's Outfitter, best selection, best service, no BS.
Your sports, your show. From East River to West River, this is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown.
All right, it's Who's Hot and Who's Not every night at this time on The Nate Brown Show, brought to you by the Pizza Ranch, home of everyone's favorite buffet. Stop by this week. Hit the Pizza Ranch. It's great. East 10th Street, Sioux Falls. Great location in Brandon. Bring the family. Fun Zone Arcade's outstanding. Locally owned and operated Pizza Ranch. Who's hot and who's not? In my Who's Hot category, we're going to go to the state of Iowa. We're going to help you guys out in Iowa. Iowa State coach Otzelberger, TJ, gets the big win last night over second-ranked Houston. So Iowa State men's basketball, the real deal, top 5 team, they win at home over Houston in my Who's Hot. And then we'll go to Iowa football. This stat just came out. I wasn't aware. 10 of the 15 incoming transfers for Iowa football, 10 out of 15 kids from the FCS. Iowa Hawkeye football going 10 FCS players, whether you like it or not. In our Pizza Ranch Who's Not category, Major League Baseball Players Association Director Tony Clark resigning today, leaving the union without a leader. Sources say an investigation revealed he had an inappropriate relationship with his sister-in-law. Youch. Thanks for listening to The Nate Brown Show. We are back tomorrow. The podcast going up now.
The bakers of Country Hearth and Village Hearth breads are proud to support local education with